I have captured almost every single Evomon inside of Evomon, which is why I'm going to be giving you guys 50 of the craziest tips and tricks inside of Evomon. Whether it be ones that save you guys just a little bit of time, to ones that can make you guys do 4 times as much damage. Trust me, you're gonna want to watch until the very end because these tips get absolutely crazy. As you can see, I am level 55, so I'm a little bit qualified to make this video. But trust me, you guys are going to want to watch until the end because this video gets absolutely insane. And first things first, when you guys do join the game, do make sure to immediately get out of the starting area. The starting area is so bad. And you just immediately go to like Lava Crag or something. You can do your quests later on, but in Lava Crag you have access to the strongest Evomon in the entire game, which I kid you not, is this little rock looking guy here. This rock guy evolves into Lava Rock, which is who I have over here, and this is probably the tankiest Evomon in the entire game. And not only is he so tanky, he also has an insane move called Fatal Rebound, which when hit counterattacks for 1.75 times the damage received, and this does not include any kind of defenses. So if you guys can't beat that guy, probably go ahead and party up with anybody in your lobby, because almost anybody will be enough to defeat this little guy. He's only level 37 and only in the 3rd world. Now you will actually notice that my Lava Rock or Lavite is a shiny because it has this little icon here. And this is also a really big mistake that I see people do, which is not grinding for these shiny versions of Evomon. Now for some Evomon, it's okay to not grind the shiny. For example, for Archapex, this is probably the toughest Evomon to get in the entire game. And therefore, to not get the shiny is very acceptable because you can defeat so many of these guys. Or maybe Targon, which is just really annoying to grind for. But someone as simple as Lava Rock, you 100% need the shiny, as the stat increase is pretty noticeable. So let me go ahead and head down to the index and take a look at, for example, my Lavite, right? Lavite has a base stat total of 365, but if we look at the shiny version, it then goes to 374. And while that might not seem like a lot, the speed stat going from 48 or 44 to 48 makes it so that the shiny version of Lavite actually outspeeds the regular version, meaning that if you are fighting a shiny Lavite and you are a regular Lavite, you're going to get outsped, they're going to hit first, and you're going to take a whole lot of damage. So definitely my big tip here is to grind up for the shiny. My next massive tip here that I see many people wasting is the resources on coins, specifically with Henry the Scammer. Now Henry isn't actually a scammer, but the prices on the stuff he sells is completely outrageous. If you wanted a lot of advanced balls, there is a traveling merchant that spawns later on in the game that you guys can just get a bunch of advanced balls anyways. And even then, advanced balls are so useless that you'll never be using them in the first place. Take a look at how many advanced balls I have. I have 372 of them just because of how useless they are. In addition to that, he also sells a couple of potions. And while potions are fine for cheating through 1 or 2 hard boss battles, in general, if you need a potion to defeat something, you likely shouldn't even be in that area in the first place. Unless you guys are cheating something, like for example, you're a beginner player and trying to choose a Lava Crag Lavite, then by all means do it. But if you guys are going from, I don't know, like Shiver Snows to Flying Territory and fighting a specific boss on one of these levels, chances are you should probably grind up a bit more, because if you use a potion on this battle, then you'll likely need more potions on the next battle, which will just cost you more and more coins, which is simply not worth it. Not to mention, coins are so much better spent on the traveling merchant, as he actually has some really great resources for you guys to purchase. So do not spend anything on Henry the Scammer. But do you know what doesn't cost any coins to purchase? It is going to be the subscribe button. Hit subscribe if you're enjoying it, and sorry for the plug, let's just get straight back into it. My next tip is going to be to actually pay attention to the natures and the talent, especially the talent tier. Now different Evomon will have different tiers, and it ranges from C tier all the way to triple S tier. Every single guy I have here, except for like the prismatic guys, are all going to be triple S tier, because triple S tier is the highest tier in the entire game, which makes it very important to prioritize these triple S tier Evomon. And in order to actually use your triple S tier the most effectively, you want to click the little question mark icon right beside it, and you can see that you can divide your stat points. Now the best way to divide it depends on any kind of Evomon you are trying to level up here or like make better. For example, Targon, which is really good defensively, you will definitely need triple defenses. It might take a little bit of a long time to actually get 3 of the 6 specific stats you want, for example HP and double defenses, but as long as you have enough talent vector potions, it shouldn't be too hard to get, and these can be obtained from chests all the way around the map, so definitely go ahead and grind up those. But for example Targon, you want defensive stats, or maybe on for example Archapex, you'll want a couple of offensive stats like flat attack. I don't have my Archapex optimized yet. Or maybe on some really fast Evomon like Volcrest, you'll want your speed stat prioritized, not only with your talent, but also with your nature. And a big thing people mistake for is, for example in Pokemon games, when you get a nature, you can't change the nature, you have to just keep on grinding for more. Well, in this mode, if you click the question mark icon, you can actually re-roll the nature that your Evomon has, so you can ensure that your Evomon always gets the preferred nature whenever possible. My next tip is going to be all about balls, and no, I'm not talking about any weird kind of balls, specifically the prismatic balls and the king balls. These are the 2 best balls in the game, and many people think that the prismatic ball is actually better than the king ball, and some other people think that the king ball is better than the prismatic. Well, the thing is that the answer is neither. They are both equal in strengths, and they both guarantee a triple S tier talent. Only thing is that the prismatic also guarantees a random sparkle appearance, but that sparkle, do not mistake it with this shiny sparkle effect. That's different. The sparkle that it's actually going to give you is going to be this prismatic sparkle, which is purely cosmetic and has no use for you. It only makes your Evomon look cooler. So if you do want to use it on like your mount Evomon, an Evomon that you do have carrying you all around, then by all means do so. Like look at this mount I got, she just looks so cool. But if you guys are going for functionality, it doesn't really matter what kind of ball you use. These are the exact same. But also, don't be afraid to use your balls, because I highly recommend you guys use your balls on anything that you guys find shiny. Whether it be something even as bad as something on the first world. For example, these little grassy budlings, whatever. I even recommend you use your balls on it if they are a shiny, specifically the king balls and the prismatic balls. Just because basically every single Evomon will be useful at some point or another, because some Evomons counter other Evomons, unless it's like specific kinds of Evomons that are later on that are really bad. But basically if you guys see any shiny, just throw your balls on it, man. Especially any shiny, you must use prismatic or king ball. If it's not a shiny, never use these balls. Never waste them in any kind of scenario, because these are actually really hard to get to. My next tip is to not get fooled by the type advantages. Now if we take a look at some Evomon here, for example Mudbud, right? We can see that what is Mudbud weak to? Now we wonder what Mudbud's weak to, so then we engage with a Mudbud, we grab a Mudbud, and then we click these 2 icons to see what it's weak to, right? For example, grass is weak to, let's see, fire, flying, bug, dragon, poison. And ground is weak to grass, flying, and dragon. But did you know that this guy is actually weak to ice type as well? And not only just normal weak, but 4 times weak to ice. And for some reason it doesn't say, but if you click on ice type, you can see that super effective against grass and also against ground type. So it's a little bit misleading, because you're initially thinking, okay, Mudbud, I should just probably use a flying type against it, right? Because flying type is strong against the ground type, and flying type is also strong against grass type. And while you could use a flying type Evomon to do it, and while that does indeed work, you do have to keep in mind that if you have played a game such as Pokemon before, where you know for a fact that ice type is super effective against ground and the ice type is super effective against grass, chances are it's the exact same thing in this game as well. So if you want to know a Evomon's weakness, don't start by looking at whatever they're weak to in the actual game, because for some reason it just doesn't show up the same. just go online and search up like a Pokemon type chart, because that is likely going to be 10 times more effective to figuring out what is actually strong against. And to prove it, I'm going to head over here where the Mudbuds are, equip my Ice type, and take a look at my Ice type's move power. It will go up by 4 times, from 55 to 220. That's how you know it is going to be 4 times effective into these Mudbuds. Next tip for you guys is going to be something that I see very common, that people get stuck at the Flying Territory boss, specifically the King of Flying. This is a notoriously difficult boss as the difficulty spikes up by a ton, and for reference, Shiver Snow is a level 60 area, this is level 75, the area next to it is level 75, but the boss in Raven Ridge is only level 90, yet this boss is level 100 and also immune to status effects. This guy is super difficult to beat. So how do you actually beat it? Well, I have a couple of tips here. Number 1 is to go join a lobby with a bunch of strong players and create a team and party up with some people. You can go ahead and send people some party requests, and that is a really good way to beat it. But what if you don't have friends? Well, if you don't have friends, number 1, I feel very sorry for you. But number 2, what you can do is use one of 2 Evomon. Number 1 is going to be Tarragon. Tarragon is amazing due to its insanely high bulk, insanely high defenses. Also, if you get a trait that can make you even more defensive, such as Prime Form, which takes 60% less damage while at full HP, but while that isn't that realistic to get the legendary trait, even any kind of like epic trait such as Tough Skin, reduce damage reduction, or maybe become unaffected by a crit, which is going to be Vital Guard, cannot be hit critically. Any of these will be amazing for Tarragon. And not only that, Seed Bomb is amazing because take a look. After it does damage, it gains 1 stack of growth. And what growth does is it restores 8% of your max HP at the end of your turn. Now 8% doesn't seem like a lot initially, but the thing is that this thing stacks up to 10 times, meaning you're effectively going to be taking 0 damage, because once you take damage, you're going to heal it all right back up, and the opponent is going to do nothing to you. So let me just show you guys really quick an example of how it'd be when you use Tarragon to fight this boss. And keep in mind, it's not just Tarragon. Tarragon is the best example, but I'm pretty sure many other grass types in the game also have access to the Seed Bomb move. So okay, well, I need to disable auto, and let me just use Seed Bomb. So as you can see, I've taken some damage, right? It's like, oh no, I've taken damage. Oh wait, and then I start healing, and now my stacks increase. So he does damage, but 2 stacks of Seed Bomb, and look, immediately, look at how little damage I take. I mean, oh no, I did not mean to click that. But look, I take no damage, and I'm already healing, what's that, 8 times 4, 32% of my max HP per turn. And if this guy cannot do that much damage to me, then I mean, I'm just going to be healing it all back up, right? That's going to be so insane for you guys to do. But a much more affordable option is also related to an Evomon that I talked about before. Lavites, specifically Lava Rock the evolved form. Because you could do it with Lavite, but definitely Lava Rock would be better. And the main reason is, first of all, Rock type. Rock type is super effective against flying, even though it's not showing up here, but that's how the Pokemon matchup works. The other thing is the most important move, Fatal Rebound. Because Fatal Rebound, I've already showed you, you reflect 1.75 times the damage received. And if we use Lava Rock against this boss, let's take a look at what happens. Because I'm going to be taking damage, and I'm going to be giving it all right back. And not only that, Lava Rock also has an insane move which activates a Sandstorm. Now I'll show you guys that later, but look, Gale Thrust, he does damage to me, I do damage right back to you. And I mean, you can do damage to me, I'm just going to give it right back to you. If you do more damage, I do more damage. But the most important thing is Sandstorm Eruption. Because Sandstorm Eruption causes, obviously, a sandstorm, right? Take a look up here. It says sunny, no effect, because, I mean, there's no weather effect right now. But if I use Sandstorm Eruption, look at what happens. Just ignore the damage numbers, because that's going to be different for you. But 60 damage, you see that 60? That's going to be the same for everybody, because it inflicts percentage damage to non-ground and non-rock type Evomon each turn. This means that when he does damage to you, every time he does anything to you, he's going to take 60 damage. And what you can do is you can cheese this boss by even using like potions if you guys want to, because this is a notoriously difficult boss. But I can like grab a small HP potion, click use, and I can heal up HP while you do damage to me. And look, boop, you just take more damage. And I can use more Fatal Rebound, whatever I like to do. And then you just, I mean, this is just such a good counter to the King of Flying. You can just, because this guy is so tanky, you're going to be taking no damage. Not only that, you also, like, do you resist flying? I'm pretty sure you resist, yeah, elemental resistance. You resist flying type, and it doesn't show up here, which I don't know why. But if you guys do know your Pokemon matchups, you know that rock type is resisting flying types. So that's why that does no damage to me. So that's going to be such a good counter to this notoriously difficult boss. Next up is going to be in the world of Mirkwood. Mirkwood is one of the latest levels inside of Evomon. But while it being a really deep world in Evomon might make it seem very scary to do, it's actually not that hard to go all the way to the end here and defeat some of the Evomon, because Targon is the best Evomon, or like second best Evomon in the entire game, probably aside from Lava Rock. Actually, it might be better than Lava Rock. But the thing is that this girl, she's notoriously difficult to defeat. Let me just show you a sample of what happens when you try to defeat her. I go and I fight her, right? And like, they do damage to me and I do damage back to them, and while it looks like a lot, oh wait, they start healing, right? And then they do damage to me and I do damage back to them, and while I do a lot of damage, they heal it all back. And if I didn't have like a Fatal Rebound or such a good Lava Rock here, I probably wouldn't be able to kill it. So most of the times, it's really difficult for you to defeat a Tara or Tarragon. That is why it is so important to know your type matchup specifically against this Evomon, as it's also going to be a meta staple when the PvP update does come out. If we take a look at Resisted Vi, we can see what's super effective against it, and while it just has Steel, it's not exactly true. Well, technically also Dragon, but that's not true. I don't know why it says that, because what it really is 4 times effectiveness into Targon, meaning that it's both super effective into Dragon and into Grass type, is going to be number 1, the type of Ice. Now, I do have an Ice type here, and take a look. Super effective against Dragon and against Grass. I don't know why I said it's here, but on the other place. But if we go into action, we can actually see it happening. So let's engage with a Taro and take a look. My hail attack goes to 220 base power, but even then it's still so difficult to defeat because these guys are so tanky, and if they do ever stack Seed Bomb on you, they're going to be healing, which is going to be a little bit harder to defeat them. Next type, which is the only other type in the entire game that can do this, is Poison. Super effective against flying, but ignore that, it's mainly Grass and Dragon, which makes Wispex the perfect counter to Tarragon, because Wispex not only does 4 times effectiveness, it also inflicts stacks of poison, which does damage over time, which is super good against a major tanky boss such as this guy. My next massive tip or mistake that I see people do is in the suits section. In here, I have a couple of suits, and I've got 2 legendaries and I've got Breeder. But the mistake that I see people do is that they go to a suit and they try to reroll for the Eternal or the Mystic suits. And while these guys are really good, there are some really good epics as well that you guys could just settle on and use them for now. For example, number 1 being the Breeder. The Breeder gives you a 10% Evomon EXP bonus from every single battle, which makes the Breeder very highly prized, very good. Other than that, there is also the Catch Master for if you guys are capturing a whole bunch of Evomon, but typically this one isn't as prized as the Breeder because the Catch Master, you're probably going to catch an Evomon anyways, and if you guys couldn't, then it's probably not a good Evomon, and if it is a good Evomon, then you'd be using one of your special balls anyways. So the Catch Master doesn't have that much use, but it still is a relatively decent class or relatively decent suit. Other than that, there's also the Vanguard that increases your first turn damage. So if you don't have enough damage to one-shot an Evomon, you can use the Vanguard to help you guys. Other than that, then it's going to be the Legendaries, and from Legendaries, there's only really 2 that are good. Well, actually 3, which is the Monster Hunter, which is just basically combining the Breeder with the Catch Master's increased capture success rate. You get the Monster Hunter, which capture success rate increase plus 15%, as well as Evomon XP gain from battles increase plus 10%, but also the Elite Hunter and the Guardian. The Guardian is better than the Elite Hunter in certain cases. This one is if there's no time limit, therefore you can stack up Tarragons, Seed Bombs, and go unkillable. But this one is if there is a time limit or if there's a turn limit in the battle, then Elite Hunter is going to be better. Talk about different kinds of classes. I actually have an open slot here because I do have a duplicate Guardian and also have a lucky spin. So hopefully I'll get something really good on this video to show you guys. Okay, never mind, I just got a breeder. Breeder is pretty good, but I already have one. So the next biggest tip / mistake I see people do is on the last island. They think that this game, the progression is linear. So basically they think, hey, the best Evomon in the entire game must be the one from Thunder Cliffs, which is the last area in the entire map, right? Because it goes like this and it goes all the way to the top, Thunder Cliffs. And while the Archapex, which is the last Evomon in the entire game, which is this massive bad boy over here, oh my goodness, that's one big boy. And while this guy, he is really good, there's Evomon that are better than him. And for some reason, I don't know why the Evomon that are better than him, but he's just not that good. He's kind of underwhelming for being the last boss of the game. But one thing is for sure, this guy has insane stats. Because let's take a look at the Evomon King of Thunder stats. Because the stat total of 560. 560 is quite a lot, but if you take a look at someone else, like this guy's 515, but Tarragon's probably better than the King of Thunder, just because Tarragon can stack up infinitely with Seed Bomb. Tarragon has a really good move pool, but the King of Thunder's move pool is just damage, and damage, which doesn't provide any utility. And when your opponent can stack up infinitely and heal 80% of their HP in a singular turn, the King of Thunder just doesn't seem as strong. So my biggest tip for you here is to not prioritize Evomon at the very end, but that there are brilliant Evomon actually, along the way. And talk about brilliant Evomon, let me just point out some of them. For example, in Raven Ridge, there's actually a hidden Evomon located at the very top side portion of the map. So typically when you go here and you want to get yourself a Volcrest, you could get Volcrest by defeating the Volcrest King, but this will take many attempts to defeat, as you guys can beat him, but he respawns in like 2-3 minutes. Instead of waiting like 2-3 minutes, which is like 60, well no, sorry, 30-ish Evomon an hour. Instead, what you could do is head all the way up this side here, this tree trunk, head all the way up here, then make your way past, run by all these tree trunks, preferably do it as a mount because mounts are faster, but head up all the way up here, and up on top we could see that there are 2 bluebirds. There's also more bluebirds down there, but bluebirds are the Evomon that evolve into Volcrest. So there really is no point in grinding down there, because I see many people grind down there for the Volcrest, but little did they know that the Volcrests are actually hidden up top. My next tip for you guys is to do your dailies. Many people, they think that dailies are really repetitive, like it respawns every day, why should I even do them, right? If I do them, I'm just gonna I'll do them again tomorrow. But the amount of player XP they give is absolutely insane, because this is your #1 biggest source of player EXP. And if you guys have played a game such as Genshin Impact before, you guys already know that the amount of player XP you get in this game is absolutely insane in the daily quests. That's why you have to do them every single day. It gives about, last time I calculated, 2.1k XP every time you do all of them, but they did add new ones, for example the equipment dungeon, so it gets to 2.4k XP now. But 2.4k XP is absolutely insane, because none of these quests even come close to giving you 2.4k XP. I mean, these give you like 40, 50, and then you catch 50 Evomon in order to get. So definitely 100,000% do every single one of your dailies as soon as possible every single day. The next one is in the main city, and it is going to be the world boss here. You guys definitely need to challenge the world boss every single day. This guy gives you so much loot, but the main mistake I see people doing is that they challenge it solo. Because while you can challenge it solo and get a bunch of allies to help you, and let me just equip something that does super effective against fire, such as rock type. So let me just switch that guy out, put in stone edge, there we go. But yeah, like many people, they challenge these world bosses solo, and while you could do it solo, you're just not gonna get that many rewards compared to doing it in a group of really strong players or players alongside you. Because let me just show you how weak unbelievably weak these NPCs are. Look at that damage. Do you see how much damage they do? Was that 11 damage, by the way? 9 damage and it was a crit. Look at this one. 0. That was like, what? Like, these guys are so weak, and you see the amount of damage I'm doing, right? I'm doing a couple hundred minimum a couple hundred, and these guys, they're just not picking the smartest moves. They do no damage. I'm doing like 500 damage per hit. I mean, I'm just carrying them all in damage here, and so it really makes no sense to be challenging this solo because your teammates are so weak. So 100,000% go ahead and get a couple of partners and mates to help you guys defeat this guy, especially go into like, I don't know, Discord servers or forums and try to friend them people to challenge it together, because if you guys are doing it solo, you're basically going to be getting no rewards from this world boss, which is really a waste, because the world boss can give you some really amazing stuff, such as these legendary or even mythical, yes, mythical skill crates. So there's some really great rewards in there. My next massive tip that I have for you guys, I see many people mistake, is to know the difference between your attack and special attack, and also know which moves have attack and special attack. For example, 100 power or 80 power, which one would you guys rather have? Which one would you guys rather do in a fight? Well, you might be thinking, oh, 100 power obviously, because 100 is bigger than 80. It's like, do you want $1 or $2? Like, what? Of course I'll take $2, right? But no, in this case, you'd actually rather take the singular dollar. Because, take a look. Stone Edge, it uses, what's that? That's physical attack. But take a look, Earth Power uses magic attack. And while Earth Power also does have some extra bonuses here, it simply is not worth it. Because if we go back to Lava Rock and look at how your stats are spread, not even on my Lava Rock specifically, but just Lava Rocks in general. If we go down here to my Lava Rocks in general, look. In general, Lava Rock has much higher attack than special attack. And therefore, it makes no sense to use a special attacking move when you have a regular attacking move that is relatively similar in power. Now, if my regular attacking move was, instead of 80 power, if it was like, I don't know, 10 power, like something realistic, like 50 power, then yes, I would use Earth Power, as Earth Power would actually have more damage. But in this case, because my attack is 50% higher than my special attack, it makes no sense to use a special attacking move if the damage calculation is based off of your regular physical attack move, because this is a physical attacking move. Another massive tip, and this one is best if you guys are stuck on levels, like for example if you're not level 55 like me, one major thing is to complete your index, or at least do as much of it as you can, because the more you guys fill out your index, the more XP you gain. By filling your index, you do get XP here. There will be like a little gift icon at the top left, and that will show you guys, like, it will just give you guys some XP. And I'm pretty sure it's 50 player XP for every single normal Evomon you've discovered, and 100 player XP for every single shiny you discovered, and especially more for evolutions. For example, the entire Wispex line, which Wispex is down here, the entire Wisp Puff into Wisp Shade into Wispex, the entire shiny line gave me 300 player EXP. And that is quite a lot, especially if you guys are stuck at a point where you've already done all your dailies and you can't get any more. Because honestly, just evolving your Evomon and getting these shiny versions, and just getting every single form available of the Evomon and unlocking as much of the index as possible will give you guys so much more EXP than, for example, doing the repeatable catch 50 Evomon quests, like catch 50 Evomon in Lava Crag, because this one takes so much time to do, and while it does give you guys a bit of player EXP, overall it's just really slow. My next tip is all about element stones, and this is going to be the prime material used to evolve your evolution stones, your omni stones, your element stones. So your omni stones, do not ever use these on any of the prime elements, those being fire type, water, grass, electric, normal, ice. If I see you guys be using it, I'm gonna go to your house personally. Do not do that, because these are some of the rarest stones in the entire game, and you do not want to waste them on something so simple to get. For example, something as simple as the fire element stone, you can literally get from the third world. The third island offers the lava crag stone, or no, lava crag, the third island offers the fire element stone, which is relatively simple to defeat because you just got to defeat the last boss there. But compared to, for example, evolving your Targon, you will need some dragon element stones. And in order to get dragon element stones, the best way to get it is not from defeating any kind of bosses in the main worlds. It's actually going to be from the Summon Ruin. The Summon Ruins are this place right here, and this is the first world of the Summon Ruins, where it is easiest to get these prime 6 elements of stones. But if you guys do want the dragon element stones, or a couple others that are rare to get, which I do recommend you guys use your Omni stones on, but they're going to be the ones obtained from Summon Ruins number 3, because in here, if we head over to the Monster Summoner, while we do have the same access to the same element stones as before from the Summon Ruins number 1, we can see if we scroll down, there's other types, including the infamous Dragon Element Stone, which is one of the hardest element stones to obtain in the entire game. So, what I highly recommend you guys do is to use your Omni Stones on specifically those harder elements, such as Poison or maybe on Dragon. And for these weaker elements such as fire, do not use your Omni Stones, just grind for it normally. If you guys learned anything new from this video, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.